One of the challenges of the specific ministry to help refugees is often placed as an either or. Either we help these people in need or we help those people in need. And one of the greatest challenges is to be constantly challenging that narrative, especially for us here in a first world country in the West and in the North, despite whatever other voices may be telling us, we do have enough resources to help both those here and those over there. It is the continual work of the church, of the Primates Fund, of all of us to ensure that we are adequately responding to situations like everything related to truth and reconciliation in this country, as well as responding to issues of ongoing racism, justice issues. I mean, all of the isms, we do have the capacity because it doesn't rest on the shoulders of any single one of us, but together as the church, together as people near and far, we do have the capacity to respond to those needs that are close to us here at home, as well as those needs that we see and hear about on the other side of the world. So if we are to dream of the kingdom of God made manifest, it is a place where all are welcome and where there is a radical abundance of hospitality for all people. If we are to seek to make that dream a reality and to be co-creators with God in building up that kingdom in the here and the now where we find ourselves and in the yet to come, then we need to trust that God is in the midst of that. And I think we need to look to that example of how Abraham responds to the three strangers appearing out of the wilderness at the oaks of Mamre. In the act of welcoming refugees, if the act of welcoming refugees was treated in the same way as that welcoming the stranger looked like in this welcome that Abraham gives to God, then the kingdom is being built. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Let me bring a little bread, that you may refresh yourselves. And then choice flour used to make cakes, curds and milk, and a calf tender and good prepared, all set before these visitors. And he stood by them under the tree while they ate. He attended to them. He spent time with them, and he'd offered them the best of what he had. To be able to dream of this radical hospitality and generosity also means being able to face reality as it is. So besides all of those things that we face here at home, according to figures from the UN, the world faces over 80 million people displaced forcibly because of human conflict. That's more than twice the population of our own country, of Canada. 46 million of those people displaced are in their own countries. 5 million of those displaced are asylum seekers with no legal status where they find themselves. 26 million of those are refugees, people outside of their countries, away from their homes and everything they know. Some may be able to go back home someday. Some will never be able to return home. Some will make homes where they find themselves, and some will never be allowed to make homes where they are. And so countries like our own work with the UN and try to help provide safe places for people to come to make new homes, to build new lives. All of this happens when people have no other options, when there's no other avenue open to them. Of those 26 million refugees, only about 10% will ever be eligible for that resettlement to come to a country like our own. And in reality, because of the challenges that the various structures and systems face, only about 1% are actually resettled. Being a refugee is hard, harder than what most of us will ever know in our lives. The churches have always been involved in helping to resettle refugees. They've been at this for a long time. It is part of who we are. It is part of what we do when we claim that we follow Jesus. Our parishes act as sponsoring groups, and people like me work with committees and our diocese to be the organizing bodies that handle all of the paperwork and the fine details. There are a lot of details that need to be taken care of so that we can live into that dream of welcoming the stranger. Just as Abraham welcomes God, it is more than worth it to offer that radical hospitality and welcome. There are and always will be difficult cases, and there are and always will be easy cases, and everything in between. There is joy for what is gained, and there is sadness for what is lost. There's laughter and there are smiles, and there are tears and there are sorrow. And it is all hospitality, and it is all welcome. It is all offering what we have to God as we meet Christ in the face of the stranger. And the question is it the best that we can offer to God? Is it the best that we can offer to the stranger? If we are to dream of the kingdom of God made manifest in our very midst, a place where all are welcome and where there is a radical abundance of hospitality for all people, if we are to seek to make that dream a reality and to be co-creators with God of building up that kingdom in the here and now where we find ourselves and in the yet to come, trusting that God is in the midst of that, then we look to respond to strangers in need in the same way that Abraham responds to God appearing at the oaks of Mamre, with welcome and with hospitality, with grace and with mercy, and above all, with love.